All right, what's going on, guys, today? I want to talk about why I'm glad I left New York City last year, because it just seems like it's gotten more and more downhill. I mean, I want to talk about my experience, because I lived there for 15 years, and I saw the decline. I saw that whole decline. It's still probably going to decline, especially from the articles I've been reading. I'm just glad I left, I'm in a new environment. I have a whole new life for myself. I don't got to worry about no drama and crying and screaming, because that's all New York City really is, because I spent the first 9 to 10 years of my life down south, very stress-free. Everything's all spaced out, and it's very, slow-paced, and people are generally nicer. In New York City, I think the problem is just the population density of people just on top of each other, just highly competitive, fight or flight constantly. People are just taking their anger out on anyone they can, because that was a major problem I noticed. I used to ask myself all the time, why are people so angry at me? People would always take out their anger on me, and I used to gaslight myself, saying oh, I must be the problem. I have to be the problem. I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing something wrong. When no, New York City, New Yorkers, they're angry as fuck. They're just rude overall. They're constantly in this manic state of just, oh, I gotta get here. I gotta do this. Oh my God. Just constant, just, oh my God. I remember this one incident. Just been I've gone through a lot, even the first, 2 weeks of 5th grade, I had this homeless dude fucking think I was homeless. He's probably on drugs or schizo. He thought I was a prophet or some shit, and he was chasing me, and I had to go to this family owned shop, and I had to wait a few hours for my mom to get off work to pick me up. And that was my first, unluckily, that was one of my first experiences in New York City, because I was so used to taking the school bus, back in Georgia. I fucking loved it. And here I am, having to, obviously the subway, taking obviously the transit, the normal buses with all these people that are fucking pissed off anyway too. But that was a first experience for me. Within the first 2 weeks I was there, and I was scared as fuck. That was, lots of homeless, lots of drug addicts there. For sure, it's sad, it sucks, but it is what it is. I wasn't used to that at all. But yeah, in 8th grade, I remember there's this guy. So we were in Central Park. It was me and my 2 friends. We were on our bikes. We're talking about where we wanted to go next or something. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they just bolted. They just got on their bikes and just bolted as fast as they could. I'm just standing there confused, just standing on my bike. I'm like, huh? And I had no idea there's a guy behind me screaming his lungs off at us. And I turn around, he was with his wife and kid, and his wife is trying to shield him from me, and he gets in my face, and I remember to this day what this guy was wearing. He must have been on steroids. I don't know what the fuck. His arms were huge. We were sort of eye level, and I wasn't that tall of a kid growing up either. I had really late puberty, so this guy must have been a turbo manlet, he was wearing a gray tank top and white shorts, screaming in my face, chest bumping me. His mouth was foaming. He was like, yeah, you think you're the man, you think you're the man. And he's with his daughter. And his wife's like, stop, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Please, you're going to kill him. It's not worth it. And guys, to this fucking day, me and my friends, before I cut everyone out of my life last year, we would still talk about that. We would be like, hey, remember that one roidhead at the park that just screamed in my face? And my one friend was like, dude, he had lipstick on. And I was like, what the fuck? He always would say that. Every time I would bring it up, he's like, dude, I'm telling you, he had lipstick. His fucking lips were bright red. I mean, I don't know. Is that a side effect of steroids? Who the fuck knows? But I don't remember him having bright red, lipstick on his face. But that was a scary encounter. I was thinking about that shit for 2 weeks. I'm like, this guy genuinely was threatening me over what? And we would talk about it for months. We're like, why did that guy do that? Do you know? Well, I don't know. And you just don't know. But after all these years, I realized it was them. It was not me at all, man. I was just an emotional punching bag for these people. I've had friends flip out on me and apologize the next day. Oh, sorry, bro. I was just having a bad day. I was just, because I remember my prom weekend, it was some super bad type of shit. Everyone went to Coney Island and had these hotels, took off school. We ended up, because we didn't have a hotel, we got kicked out. My friend was trying to get with this fucking girl, and we're just randomly driving, home. And he flips out all of a sudden. He's like, get the fuck out of my car. We're not really talking. He's like, get the fuck out of my car. Get out of my car right now. And I'm like, what'd I do? What'd I do? He's like, you did it, bro. That's what you did. You fucking did it. Get the fuck out. And I was like, okay. So I got out, and days go by. I'm just like thinking, I'm up all night thinking like, fuck, what did I do this time, man? I had to have done something, man. Come on, what'd I do? And then all of a sudden I get a call. He's like, sorry, bro. I just like kind of lost it. I was like really upset, and I just kind of took it out on you. And it's like my family does the same thing. You know, that's why I'm glad I don't live in New York anymore. And I would just sit there and stare. I cannot stand confrontation. I reside in Iowa now, and this past year I only had 2 major conflicts, but other than that, it's just so fucking peaceful, and I love it. New York City, it's like an everyday thing. Like, you could like look at someone wrong, and they'll be like, what are you looking at? What the fuck you looking at? You can like step on someone's shoes, a simple, oh, my bad. They'll turn it into like a big deal, like, oh, yeah, I want to fight, bro. I'll knock your teeth out. I got 5 homies by me, bro. So I just learned to just, when people start screaming in my face, I just do the Gustavo Fring. Just you stare straight ahead, you don't say anything, and walk away. And that's how I live my life now. Anyone that wants to talk to me, I just say nope and just walk away. Easy. So easy, you know. But it used to be stressful because it does stress you out, you know. I never yelled back, and it was such a common occurrence, you know, with teachers and everyone was screaming their heads off at me, you know, all the time. And for me, you know, the thing is, I never felt like I fit in New York City at all. I never did, because obviously I have bright orange hair. I grew up in a predominantly Italian area. I would say like 70% of the people that I went to school with were Italian. And Italian people, you know, their phenotype, they're not bad looking. You know, they have really dark, thick hair, thick eyebrows, very nice skin. Sometimes we'll have like hazel eyes. But yeah, it was mostly Italian. I'd say now it's like mostly like ethnic, maybe, you know, there's probably like mostly immigrants now, I would assume. But, you know, even, yeah, like 15 years ago, it was like mostly Italian, in my area. And my mom would always say like, oh, you know, you're Italian, because I am Italian, actually, if you didn't know, I am Italian. I'm Italian and Irish, and for whatever reason, I have bright red hair and paper pale white skin. And I always felt embarrassed, too, because obviously I would get made fun of all the time for that shit. I remember even, like, in Spanish class, we would talk about, like, we had, like, this one class where we were talking about, like, our roots, like, what we are or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I'm Italian. I remember this one kid, he's like, you know, you should stop saying that. He's like, you're not Italian, dude. I'm like, yes, I am. He's like, have you seen a mirror of yourself? Like, have you looked in the mirror? And I remember they were like laughing. I don't know why that stayed with me, but that shit like kind of hurt a little bit. But yeah, like you know, even going to the beach, you know, going to Coney Island or wherever, I would always have to wear like long pants, like long swim pants and a swim shirt and a fucking umbrella, like I'm like Wednesday Addams or some shit, you know, an umbrella during the daytime, you know, because sunblock really didn't work for me. You know, I remember my parents would tell me stories when I was a kid. There was this one woman, we went on vacation one time, and they thought I was albino and sick or something, and this one woman was like, oh, is your son sick? Because I had like, apparently I had really white hair, like actual like grandpa white hair for like the first 3 years of my life. And my dad, his skin is so dark, he could easily pass as like ethnic, Hispanic or something, you know? So this woman thought I was like sick, and they're like, no, that's just what he looks like. How fucking embarrassing, man. You know, and just, yeah, I just never felt like I fit in as it was in New York City. And yeah, just like the icing on the cake, just having to fucking, yeah, wear an umbrella. Because, dude, sunblock don't do shit. You know, my skin would burn and just resort back to just paper pale white, you know, and I always had terrible acne. Yeah, there wasn't really, and the funny thing is too, if I ever saw anyone with red hair on the streets on New York City, we would just give each other the head nod. You know, if I ever saw another redhead dude, we just internally knew, we're like, yeah, just the head nod. We'd be like, yeah, what's up? I don't know, it's fucking weird. You know, we just subconsciously know. But yeah, you know, even like now, I would assume for Gen Z, it just seems like I have to make a video on this eventually, of the whole like depression epidemic in just everywhere, and disability type of shit. So I'm done just like briefly mentioning it, but it just, I think it's because of just the high paced environment that they have. like the fast-paced environment, these kids get fucking stressed out, like, I can't do college, I can't. Like, I had a friend just break down during college, I can't do this. He would have breakdowns all the time in high school, and at 18 he got a Section 8. I don't know how you could do this. And my other, you know, people I knew, they all got disability as well for like schizophrenia, all that shit. I guess they just had breakdowns. Everyone I've known in New York City, it's like they've definitely had breakdowns. You can't live in New York City. I mean, you could visit and be like, oh, this place is cool, but if you live there, you're gonna have a fucking breakdown. I put that, like, and trust me, if you're watching this and you live in New York City, you know you've probably had a fucking breakdown before, you know. Because I mean, I've seen them all the time anyway. Like, these guys, I don't know if you've seen like people that do this shit, but like there'll be guys like especially the people I used to work with in this warehouse, they would have this type of mental breakdown where they would just be standing there and they would just they would just start punching themselves as hard as they can in the face. They would just start punching themselves as hard as they can in the fucking face. And I would see that and I'd be like, oh, he lost it, he's done, you know. But yeah, lots of mental breakdowns. It's just, you can't handle the stress of this highly unnatural environment. The thing about New York City too, it seems very dystopian, you know, very like cyberpunkish, you know, because even like the fucking, the Gen Z now, like the Gen Z guys, they'll have like a fucking mullet that's like dyed blue or pink or some weird color. They'll have like a fucking nose ring that connects to their nipple, then to the tip of their dick, and they're like, oh, what the fuck, you know? Like, I love life, yeah. Oh, Lexapro, feed me some more Zoloft, feed me some Lexapro. Oh my god, some Adderall ADHD. And that's the thing too, like ADHD, it seems like everyone has fucking ADHD anyway in New York City. It's a very ADHD type of place. Everyone's constantly trying to multitask with shit that they can't do, getting bored of everything. And like even the women too, like the Gen Z men, yeah, they're like that, but the Gen Z women are kind of the same too. They'll have like pink hair, pink, purple, blue, green. I've seen it, you know, I've seen it everywhere, you know. Maybe it's because I'm just like kind of focusing on it, but there's a lot, I'm telling you, you know. And they'll have like leg hair longer than me and you probably, you know, armpit hair, leg hair. They'll dye their armpit hair, you know. And it's just like this dystopian, like subhuman cyberpunk where you're like, what the fuck is going on? Especially with the protesters, man. Like protesters are so fucking dangerous. I will tell you, avoid protesters like the plague, man. Seriously, I've had bad encounters with protesters, and the thing is, because I've learned not to have an opinion. I don't have an opinion on anything. I have no political beliefs. I don't have religious beliefs. None of this shit, like, I just sit on the fence with everything, you know? I took a lot of sociology classes in high school, and you want to learn to shut the fuck up, you know? You don't want to give your opinion, even if you do have one, you know? They used to say, you don't talk about politics, religion, and race. And I don't, because none of that shit matters to me. I have my own problems. I don't talk to anybody. I don't give a fuck what people do. I'm just sick and tired of people. I just want to live my own life and do my own thing. And you have to, if you want to survive in New York City, you have to learn that. There's a lot of politicopers over there that just care about shit that doesn't even, like even Trump versus Hillary, like Donald versus Hillary, that one was bad. That was like my first bad encounter because I remember walking home from school and these protesters was like, who do you stand with? Who do you stand with? And I said, I don't know. And this one guy was like, he's with them. And they're just like screaming at me. I didn't even give him, like, I didn't even say anything, you know? And they're just like following me for like down the block. They're like, yeah, walk. I thought I was going to get my fucking ass whooped, you know? You don't want to fuck with people's political views. They're not going to, listen, there's no point in debating either. You're never going to change someone's mind. You know what I mean? People are going to believe what the fuck they want to believe. That's why I would never debate anybody on any topic, because you're not going to change their mind. You're not going to do shit. You're just going to fucking leave both pissed off and more mad. It's going to cause more problems. And it's just a fucking load of shit, you know? Especially, too, I noticed with, like, protesters, the funny thing is like, mostly what they're protesting doesn't even really impact them at all. Like, after the protest, they'll go home. They'll sleep in their nice, comfy bed. Wake up the next morning, have their cup of coffee. Like, it's just so funny. You know, even as far as the president goes, I don't give a fuck who the president is. I live in my car. I'm just worried about me. I don't give a flying shit. They don't, you know, even whoever gets elected anyway, they'll make some minor adjustments that barely do shit. Like, I don't care about who the hell the president is. I really don't. I just genuinely don't. But yeah, protesters are very, very, very violent, and they resorted to looting too. Like I remember when Bobby Floyd died, or George Floyd. I always fuck his name up, that's because like my mom thought his name was Bobby. I'll just keep calling him Bobby. Why not? But when Saint Bobby died, that was like that was nuts, man. I've never seen anything like that in my life. With that type of shit, because like they made it like a misdemeanor in New York, where if you steal shit for you could steal $899 worth of anything, and you'll basically get a misdemeanor, like slap on the wrist, you're good. So you could just keep doing that, over and over and over. No consequences really, and it doesn't really matter. I've seen people loot before. I've seen all that shit, especially when Bobby died. I don't know why the fuck that was so controversial. I just genuinely don't. It was a weird fucking thing that happened during a weird time, and that's that. I just, it is what it is. I never left the house, but during that time I had I think I did have online clown school. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember, because I remember my professors, they were like, you know what, fuck this bullshit, because all the girls would show up to class crying about Bobby. They'd be like, Bobby, no. And the professors were like, I remember my one boomer professor, he was like, I've been doing this shit for 35 years. He was obviously tenured, because they could say whatever they want. He's like, I've been doing this for 35 years. I've never had such a whiny generation of spoiled children that I've had to teach. He's like, I'm going to give everyone an A+. And a couple of them did that. They were like, I would get emails like, it's a tragic day because, Bobby died and this has been going on for a week or two. We're going to give you an A. And thank God, because I remember I was failing one of the classes, and then I got an A because of Bobby. So thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby. Rest in peace, Saint Bobby. Because, yeah, like, the girls, we would have to have, like, for like that whole 2 weeks, we had to cancel classes because people were having breakdowns over it. Just even during like the protest or whatever, some of my neighbors' cars got completely fucked up, spray painted, windows broken out, and I'm like, well, there you go. I just lost my car. Thank God nothing happened to it though. But yeah, my mom was like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to work, and you're not leaving the house because we're gonna get fucking trampled by a mob. Just New York City, what a place to live. But I remember they looted the CVS that was down from me. Because there used to be a CVS, a lot of hot spots. You could I literally just 2-minute walk and I'm like in the fucking city and shit and whatever. But they looted this CVS. And I think and they fucked that place up, guys. I swear to God, it looked like something out of like fucking Zombieland. Like if you just like commission someone to say, hey, we're recording a zombie movie and we need to have like a rundown. This is the first day of the apocalypse. We need to have a fucked up rundown CVS. That's literally what it would look like. And I think the reason why CVS would be such a hot spot for looting, especially in Walgreens and places like that, is because they have like drugs there. You can get like steal Boomer McGee's pain pills. Imagine not being able to get your grandfather his pain pills for his back or whatever, and you come back and you're like, oh, Grandpa, they didn't have your pain pills because they were looted and we don't know if they're gonna get them back for a while. And the boomer's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, just imagine that shit. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, they ransacked the fuck out of that place. My friend was even telling me, he's like, dude, you gotta come out with me one of these days, bro. Like, just wear a mask, dude, and just follow a bunch of people when they start breaking shit. He's like, bro, just grab as much as you can. I'm like, nah, I'm fucking good, dude. And I had some friends that would go to peaceful protests too, and something always ended up happening. I remember being on FaceTime with one of them, and all of a sudden someone did some shit, and they like all these protests, they usually end up turning violent, especially like in New York City. Very highly condensed people. Mob mentality is definitely very real. But even when they rebuilt that CVS, it was such clown shit, because you walk in there, you want a bag of chips, you want like any sort of candy, any sort of anything, it's all locked behind a piece of glass. You have to call over, they have like 5 security guards. Ridiculous. It just, because I was like, what the fuck happened to CVS? Like after that whole thing, yeah, when they rebuilt it, security guards, everything's locked up. So you gotta call over an employee to get you a bag of Lay's chips. Like, oh my God, bro. It's just, I don't know, it's just such clown shit, you know? It just definitely is, you know? It's just like this very dystopian, and especially too, like, I just thought about this shit. I was thinking about the subway. The subways suck, man. They always smell like, I don't know if you've, like, been in a subway before, but some of them, they smell like sometimes it'll smell like Cheerios and puke. I don't know how to describe it. Even like the public transit, like buses, they suck too. There's always arguments. Oh, you fucking, you know, oh, you sat there, you did this, you da 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 da. You know, it's just, I don't know, man. It just, you know, it just completely sucks. But yeah, I mean, for the subways, I've seen poop on subways before. I'm not even joking. Like, I've seen actual like logs just I've seen homeless people. It's probably the homeless people, just tweaking and geeking like, you know, they don't even know what planets they're on. You know, when I lived in my car for the first like month and a half in New York City, I got 3 fucking tickets for parking outside of just random, like, no parking zone type of things. It's not illegal to sleep in your car in New York City, but why the fuck would you want to? Like, I knew I had to get out of there. It's just, you know, you have people knocking on your window and shit, banging on your window, screaming. It's very loud, you know, and people talk loud. You know, that's the thing. When I first started living in New York City all those years ago, I thought people were kind of yelling at me because they would just talk so loud. You know, my family, every family gathering we would go to, they would be like, hey, what's going on? How's school going? Just like screaming at the top of their lungs. Yeah, you getting all A's? You getting all A's in school? Like, I'm not even joking, you know. And you should hear them scream when they're in arguments. They'll be like voice cracking. They'll be like, you motherfucker! It's just like Pops from a regular show. Oh my God. But yeah, every family gathering we would go to, you would think they were yelling at you, but they weren't. And every time we would leave, my ears would be fucking ringing. I would reek of cigarette smoke all the time. And that's the thing too, you know, with the boomers over there, like the old school Italian boomers, they always have the same build, you know. I always call it the froglet build, but I think a better term, honestly, in my opinion, would be toadlet, because it's like this very toad-esque like appearance, where it's like if you were to take an anorexia patient and just replace their torso with like a yoga ball, because these guys, they'll have like very distended guts that just hang the fuck out. You know, smoking cigarettes, their voices will kind of be like, hey, what you doing, man? Drink my coffee, give me my coffee, you ripping me off, you know, that type of shit. They'll either be wearing a hat to cover their fucking massive bald spot, or you know, they'll have just like their hair slicked back like Tony Soprano, just like covering some of the balding. You know, it's just mind-blowing. I'm noticing younger guys with this build too, like their arms and legs are just atrophied, you know, because the frogs, like they'll always have like really, or toads, they have like really tiny hands and arms, like sticks, but the torso is just huge. I don't know what causes that. It might be just like processed food and garbage, you know, diets and beer and whatever, and cigarettes. I mean, the thing with cigarettes, I don't know how the hell you can afford cigarette addiction in New York City. I'm almost positive when I say this. Actually, I know I'm right. It has to be number one for cigarette prices, you know, in America, no doubt. But every Gen Z has a vape in their hand. You go up to any Gen Z, even the young ones. I remember, you know, in high school, you could easily get a vape. You just go, like, my friends will be like, oh, there's this Indian dude at the corner store, bro. He'll give you anything, bro. Just ask for a vape. He doesn't care. Because most of the, you know, I've seen some of them get, like, police, like, raided and shit and, like, shut down. You know, they would be like, oh, I remember reading one of them. It was like they got shut down for like illegally selling marijuana and shit. It's like, why would they risk that? That's the thing. Like, why would they risk that? You know, that's kind of weird. Like, why would they risk that? I don't know. But yeah, it's just so accessible, and everyone just has a vape in their hand and a really bad nicotine addiction, which I can't really understand. I mean, I've vaped a few times, but the thing about it is, like, you only get that nicotine buzz like once, and if you just keep hitting it the whole day, you're just doing it for no reason. I don't know if it's just like a I don't know, oral fixation, like muscle memory type of thing. I don't know, but personally for me, I don't know how you could get addicted to that, you know, but yeah, everyone vapes. They go nuts if they lose their vape, having breakdowns. I think the thing about New York City, why people are so mentally unstable, is because, you know, I was saying how, like, it just seems very dystopian and unnatural, because it is. Everything's so readily accessible, even when things are easy. You know, that one friend that I had that had a breakdown when he started college, gets $2,000 a month in food stamps and a Section 8 paid for house. He's miserable on all these drugs, and it's like, there's too many. This is like for a separate video, but a main just universal problem is just, yeah, the unnaturalness. It's like if you were to 100% complete like a video game, or just like load up into a video game with like cheats on, with everything, every achievement unlocked, unlimited ammo, everything, you're gonna get so bored within like fucking 10 minutes. But if you have no cheats on, start, you know, the story from the beginning, it's fun, you know, all the way until the end. And just, I feel like life isn't like that anymore. It's just, it seems like everything is 100% and everything's just so easy, and people just can't fucking cope, and they just take their anger out on everybody, you know. Just very, very, very bizarre, you know. And I saw, what else, the new mayor. I don't really have any thoughts on that because I haven't really looked into it yet, but people are calling this guy a communist or something. He's a democratic socialist. He wants to, what was I reading? I don't really know much about it, and I frankly don't care because I don't live in New York anymore. But he wants to freeze rent, put like a city-owned, you know, for boroughs, just the city-owned grocery store. I don't know for what, if it's going to be like free food and shit for people. I have no idea. It kind of reminds me of, if you've ever seen that movie, what is it? Idiocracy, where they have that giant ass Costco in the middle of like nowhere, just like this huge Costco. It's like the Universal store. That's probably what it's going to be like. You know what I mean? Everyone just showing up to this place. All the other stores are going to close down. I can see that happening for sure in the next 50 years. Like, family-owned businesses probably won't be much of a thing. Corporations are going to mold into one giant one, so all your food is going to be from one store. Like, I could just see that happening for sure. But I don't know, my coworker for some weird reason seems to know more about this guy than I do. I haven't really like talked. I mean, he knows I'm from New York City too, which is kind of funny. But I was like, dude, you know, if he gives us free shit, you know, why don't I just go back there and just fucking get my own little government house and get my food stamps and get my whatever? And he's like, you probably wouldn't get it. And I'm like, why? He's like, because you're an American citizen. He's like, you got to realize there's a lot of immigrants now living in New York City, and they'd probably get like the care first. And I was like, ah, shit, you're right. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. The mayor, I don't give a fuck, you know. It's just like, it is what it is. You know, I don't live there anymore. But yeah, I will miss it some days. I will be like, you know, kind of miss it, kind of don't, because it's peaceful now. Like, I'm telling you guys, I don't talk to people for days. I don't fucking talk to people over the phone, online, none of that shit. I don't give a fuck. I don't have to deal with family and friends anymore that I fucking had in my life. The only person I talk to really is my coworker and my boss. That's it, bro. Like, that's fucking it, you know? And it's just, everything's just very stress-free, and I just love it so much compared to New York City, man. I'm so glad, you know, that I'm away from that fucking wretched place, you know. I kind of do want to contact like one of my old friends one day and be like, like if they're still living in New York, and be like, yo, how's New York doing? You know, like, how's it doing? Because like, I am a little curious. I mean, if you live in New York now, I mean, it's only been like a year for me, you know, give or take. I remember reading an article over like the winter where they're like, there's like some woman got lit on fire on the subway. There's like the National Guard over there, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I think I left at the right time. You know, I think I definitely did, and I'm fucking happy with that decision. I don't have any drama in my life. I don't have to deal with anyone. I don't have to deal with shit. Just saving up money, and that's all I really fucking need, you know? Just distance myself from toxic people, and yeah, New York City, all that shit is toxic. Pretty much, you know? Like, I can't even imagine, like, being a teacher, you know, there. Because, like, the teachers were very, very nasty. growing up. And I kind of have a little bit more empathy, especially now. Like, I can't even imagine, like, you know, you have all these TikTok Zoomers just agitating people for, like, views, just trying to get a reaction out of people, you know, in school all the time. It must be hell on earth, you know. I had this one teacher, like, warning us about that shit. He was like, oh, these phones are going to be your demise. I was, like, a freshman. This was, like, a little over a decade ago. This guy was bald in his 30s. He's probably on his last follicle now, I'm telling you. Definitely, there's probably one remaining follicle left, you know, easily. He's probably on his last one. But he was a cool guy, you know. He would be hungover all the time. He would sit next to me, just had his head down, just hungover as fuck. But he was passionate about what he did. He really wanted to, like, help out, you know, our fucking future generations and shit. He was like, oh, you guys are gonna destroy everything, and you blah, blah, blah. So far I think he was right, you know. But yeah, that must suck now. You know, you waste all your time being passionate about something. You know, you lose your fucking hair, your marriage is failing, just, you know, all that shit just to get disrespected by a bunch of teenagers. I mean, Jesus Christ. You know, no wonder my teachers were all pissed off back then. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for now.